Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamara Jordan, Tammy Turns Pages. I'm so glad that you are here and that you decided to turn pages with me today. Today we are actually going to go over some upcoming releases and all the books that I want to read during the summer. I've got a really long list here, about 25 books, so I'm going to try to go quick. So let's get right into this video. The first book that I want to read is called Land. It's by Maggie O'Farrell. I've had a lot of great moments with this author, so I will be reading this one. It says, this is a spellbinding story of separation, longing, recovery, and survival as a family makes a new home in the aftermath of tragedy. On the windswept peninsula stretching onto the Atlantic, Tomas and his reluctant son Liam are working for the Great Ordnance Survey project to map the whole of Ireland. The year is 1865, and in a country not long since ravaged and emptied by the Great Hunger, the task is not an easy one. Tomas, however, is determined that his maps will be a great record of the disaster. The British soldiers in charge are due to arrive any day, expecting the work to be completed, but Tomas is sent off course by an unsettling encounter. His life and those of his family will never be the same again. So this sounds really good. It's historical fiction. It's obviously a literary work, and it's Irish literature. So that's the first one. The next one is called Girl's Girl, and this one is by Sonia Feldman. It says, from a dazzling new talent, a sensual and spellbinding novel about one summer that shatters the balance between three best friends, forcing them to confront the line between friendship and desire. 15-year-old Mina's world is her two best friends, but after an unexpected kiss, the established dynamics of their quirky trio unravel. Everything that was once shared openly, from clothes to secrets, now feels impossibly fragile. Loyalties shift and tensions simmer across the long days of this pivotal summer where the girls have nowhere new to go and everything new to feel. That sounds really good. That's coming out June 2nd as well. The next one is called The Open Era. This one is by Edward Schmidt. Some of these are debuts, by the way, and then some of them are like reoccurring authors that I've read before. Love evens the score between two tennis players in this stunning debut romance. Recently turned pro tennis player Austin Hardy has been out since high school, and it's never been a big deal. That is, until he becomes the first openly gay man to compete in a Grand Slam. Suddenly, being gay is a huge deal, with headlines to prove it. Unprepared for his new spotlight, Austin's anxiety disorder hits a breaking point, and he trips and falls at his first practice, right next to the very attractive, very talented, and probably straight Diego Cruz, ranked number 2 in the world. The two players start a friendship off the court. Between their flirty banter, mixed signals, and brewing rivalry, Austin is thrown further off his game by Diego. This sounds really fun. So this one is also coming out June 2nd. The next one is also coming out June 2nd. This video is coming out maybe like a week after these come out. The next one is The Unicorn Hunters. This is by Catherine Ardern. This is not a debut. She's written a lot of books. With her country's future and her own life at stake, an orphaned duchess must journey into a world of myth and there discover a power that may be her salvation or demise. Anne of Brittany was a child when her realm was invaded, her home besieged, and her royal father driven to his death. Now her treasury is empty, her land occupied by her enemies, and she is ordered to become queen of her conquerors. But Anne promised her father that Brittany would never be conquered. Defiantly, she betroths herself in secret to France's greatest enemy. But in a world where courts may spy on each other by magic, there is only one way to solemnize this illicit union. I love it. And this one is historical fiction, fantasy, and adult romance. The next one is The Children. This is also coming out on the 2nd, and this is by Melissa Albert, an intoxicating, haunting new novel from Melissa Albert, in which the estranged adult children of a legendary author, written into their dead mother's beloved fantasy series, contend with the vine-like creep of legacy, memory, and magic. Ooh, this one's long. I'm gonna shorten it. Guinevere Sharp has two childhoods. In one, she lives in the wooded shadow of her family's isolated Vermont farmhouse. In the other, the pages of her mother's world-famous Ninth City books, where her magical adventures have made her a household name. In reality, Guinevere's childhood isn't the enchanted idyll her mother's readers imagined. She and her older brother are growing up near feral, unwashed and undeferred, escaping each day to the lichen-clotted woods they've made their playland. As Edith Sharp's books explode into epic popularity, the threats of rural childhood give way to their escalating perils of fame. Until the night it all goes up in flames, leaving Edith's series unfinished and her children the sole survivors. The next one is called Sublimation. This one is by Isabel Kim. This one comes out also on June 2nd. When you immigrate, you leave a copy of yourself behind. An instance. One person enters their new country and the other one stays trapped at home. Some instances keep in touch, call each other daily, keep their lives and minds in sync in hopes that reintegrating and reassuming a life as one person is possible. Others, like Soyoung Rose Kang, leave home at 10 years old and never speak to their other selves again. Rose, in America, never imagined going back to Korea until her grandfather died and her Korean instance called her home for the funeral. She doesn't know that Soyoung plans to steal her body and her life. This one sounds really cool. How far would you go to live the choice you didn't make? This is science fiction, this is horror, fantasy, adult. The Missed Connection, this one is coming out June 9th. This is by Tia Williams. Sasha Cruz knows types. As a booked and busy casting agent, she's always casting. At happy hour, the post office, the grocery store, everywhere. She's all about finding the perfect person to slot into the perfect role. What she doesn't do, however, are relationships. Too much energy, not enough time. Men find her intimidating and she likes it that way. But when Sasha's seated next to a mysterious, broodingly handsome Italian man on the way to a work trip in Paris, sparks fly. But they miss the chance to exchange contact information. Now convinced that she lost out on her soulmate, Sasha is on a manhunt to find seat F. That sounds so cool. I'm excited about this one. Okay, this is romance, contemporary romance, fiction, contemporary adult, and summer. The next book is called The Voyagers. When the signal, a mysterious transmission pulsing from the edge of the solar system, arrives, the world changes overnight. Planes are grounded, satellites fail, ooh, scary, and speculation abounds, with many believing it could be the first contact with extraterrestrial life. Humanity holds its breath. But for Alex, a 30-something lawyer who spent years distancing himself from the unexplainable, the signal feels deeply personal, the opening of an old wound. Decades ago, Alex and Anna both vanished for 36 hours on vacation in Palm Springs. What? That's crazy. When they returned, dazed but unharmed, the 6-year-old's account of the experience had all the hallmarks of alien abduction. The media frenzy that followed made them famous, and the long months of child stardom, of talk shows and sitcom cameos forged a seemingly unbreakable bond between them, until the mystery behind the disappearance began to tear them apart. Oh my God. And it's close to home. It takes place in Palm Springs / Joshua Tree. That one is science fiction, literary, fantasy, contemporary, and aliens. The next one is coming out on June 23rd. This one is called Skin Contact, and it's by Elisa Faison. I hope I'm saying that right. Unmoored by her mother's death, Frances has never felt so dismissed or so old. She's painfully aware that strangers no longer look at her the same way, and that she's now, at 32, older than her great aunt for whom she was named, who was killed in the 70s under mysterious circumstances involving an extramarital affair. Uh-oh. Her husband Ben will do anything to help Frances regain her vivacity and her sense of purpose. So when Frances suggests that they open their marriage, Ben complies. And I'm sure chaos ensues. This is fiction, literary fiction, contemporary adult. It's also queer and LGTBQ+, and it's romance. So this next one is also coming out June 23rd, this one is called Tillinghast. This one is a dark and utterly original horror debut, following a priest whose bloodthirsty life has extended far longer than any mere humans and is upended when a stranger comes to town. That's all I'm gonna do. That one looks really good. The cover is beautiful also, by the way. This one comes out on the 23rd, like I said. This is gothic, horror, vampire fiction, historical fiction, and paranormal. The next one is called Wasps Nest. This is by Kate Stoddard. This one comes out on the 30th of June, and it is a modern retelling of the Philadelphia story. Tess wants nothing more than for her upcoming society wedding to overshadow the failure of her first marriage. Her fiancé Warren, a steady soon-to-be state senator, is nothing like her first husband. Tess's relationship with working-class artist Peter was a passionate crash and burn, and a chapter of her life that she's ready to forget. Peter hasn't seen Tess in 5 years, so he's shocked to receive an invitation to her wedding. But he's moved on too, and it wouldn't hurt to prove it by showing up with a handsome younger man as his plus one. Mitch, an aspiring writer, is intrigued by Peter and jumps at the chance to pry into the lives of waspy ex-in-laws. This looks really funny. What he's not bargained for is developing serious feelings for both Peter and Peter's ex, Tess, the bride. This is romance, fiction, queer, LGTBQ, and this is also, like I said, a retelling. That one is June 30th. This one is also June 30th. This one is called The Shampoo Effect. This one's written by Jenny Jackson. She wrote Pineapple Street. Loved it. An ambitious young woman insinuates herself into a tight-knit social circle, shaking up friendships and marriages in a small seaside town. A frothy love novel, money, sex, and friendship from the New York Times best-selling author of Pineapple Street. They're saying this is like a laugh out loud funny. I want to read this. It's June 30th. This one is fiction, summer romance, summer reads, contemporary literary fiction. The next one is called Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep. This one is by Paul Tremblay. Julia Flang, a 20-something former semi-professional gamer, living with her retired uncle and working 2 jobs she doesn't like. Out of the blue, her estranged mother, a CFO for one of the world's largest tech companies, offers her a temp job with a payday Julia can't refuse. One sham interview later, she's offered the job to chaperone a man in a vegetative state, one with proprietary AI implanted, oh my gosh, in his head from California to the East Coast. To sum it up in Julia's own words, you want me to remote control this dead dude across the country? In a word, yes, but he's not dead. Meet a middle-aged man who wakes with a disorienting hellscape filled with monstrous grotesqueries, worse than the fluid, morphing reality in which he is trapped. He has no memory of who he is. He certainly doesn't remember getting the rabbit tattoo on his arm. He only knows that he must find a certain person who he can't remember. This one sounds crazy. This is horror, science fiction, adult, speculative fiction, and a little bit of a thriller. Okay, so this one is June 30th. This one is called Mossed in Space. This is by Rebecca Thorne. Torian Resner finally bought a starship, and contrary to Amelia's assessment, it was not a meteoric sign of stupidity. Sure, the alien starship may have been abandoned for a century, and it may be covered in moss now, but it's Torian's ticket to freedom, regardless of what her ex-captain said. Except Torian's first flight reveals a surprise passenger. The Moss is actually an organic computer with a snarky attitude and serious abandonment issues. The target of its loathing, the immortal alien who built it, then parked the starship with Moss inside and forgot about it. The same alien who just found out and accused him of stealing the ship. It's entirely possible that Amelia was right about this stupidity. Science fiction, cozy, romance, fantasy, LGTBQIA+, and this is adult. This is coming out on the 30th of June. Okay, we're moving on to July. This one I have an ARC for. This one is called everything was beautiful and nothing hurt. Travis is death in the modern world. He wears jeans and a t-shirt and lives in a small gray town. His job is to offer people comfort in their final hours of life. He is stoic, gentle, and a little bit naive. Despite everything he knows, despite who he is, each death he witnesses is meaningful to him. He listens, he never judges, and most importantly, he never tries to change anyone's fate. He knows that every life must eventually end to maintain the balance of the universe, and he respects the cycle. Then he meets Dahlia, a midwife, and her boisterous 8-year-old daughter, Layla, who live across the hall. As Dahlia and Layla come to embrace Travis, it becomes more difficult to maintain the detachment that has allowed him to function for so long. Their time together teaches him what is truly important in life. This is fiction, magical realism, fantasy, contemporary literary fiction. That's July 7th. The next one is also July 7th. This one is called Every Version of You. This is by Natalie Messier. Joey Vasquez's life is the definition of good on paper. A 32-year-old, she's a Los Angeles lawyer on the cusp of making partner. But while she's a professional success, she's a personal disaster. Her social life mostly consists of nights spent watching TV with her elderly cat. Vibes. Life isn't quite what she dreamed when she was younger, but really whose life is. A dinner party with the best friend she's secretly pined for changes everything. Oh, when Joey is given a second chance at life, she finds herself in college again. Armed with the memories from her first life, Joey is certain she's come back to finally convince the one man she's ever loved to love her back. So why does she find herself strangely drawn to the man she thought she hated? That one is romance, fiction, magical realism, time travel, contemporary, and contemporary romance. That one is July 7th. So the next one is coming out on the 7th of July. This one is by Chuck Tingle. It's called Fabulous Bodies. It says, fashion influencer by day, grave robber by night, Poppy Stringer is on call when Eddie Michaels, a flamboyant, piano-slamming rock star and queer icon, unexpectedly dies. All Poppy wants to do is retrieve Eddie's body from the medical examiner's office. But what starts as a routine delivery quickly goes off course when Eddie wakes up. Poppy must fight for her life in a blood-soaked night of carnage and fabulous entertainment all across Palm Springs. This one sounds really, really funny. This one is horror, queer, LGTBQIA+, fiction, thriller, and it's an adult. Okay, the next one is Country People. This one is by Dan Mason. This one is also July 7th. This one says, Miles is a devoted husband, a doting father beloved for his outlandish bedtime stories, and the proud owner of a truffle-hunting dog in a land with no truffles. He is also a bit lost, 12 years late with his PhD on Russian folktales, and incredibly haunted by a sense that he's become a disappointment to his family. So when his wife Kate accepts a visiting professorship at a prestigious college in the faraway forests of Vermont, he decides that this will be his year to finally move forward with his life. I like this a lot. This sounds really good. This one is fiction, literary fiction, contemporary, historical fiction, humor. It also says this would be good for a book club. The next one comes out on July 14th. This one is called Make Nice. This one is by Ryan Efkin. This one says it's Sandwich meets The Wedding People. When the Pickford siblings arrive at the Grand Hotel, a nostalgic tourist paradise of horse-drawn carriages, muddled cocktails, and white sweaters on the tennis court, they have every intention of spending the long weekend making nice. Pete, the nation's foremost expert of mollusks, is keen to wade around in the lake in search of a rare, exciting snail. Viv, reeling from the secret revelation that her husband is gay, is determined to put on a brave face for her daughter. And Corey, a charming, handsome grifter, has lucked into 5 pounds of cocaine he plans to sell to the first dumb rich guy that he can find. But when Pete falls for the alluring mother of a local kid, when Viv's daughter gets up to teenage trouble, and when Corey finds the wealthy guest less interested in party drugs than golf clubs and waffle cones, the long weekend of family bonding veers into disaster. This one is fiction, contemporary, summer, family drama, literary fiction, comedy. This one sounds like it's going to be fun. The next one is coming out July 28th. This one is by Catherine Ryan Howard. It is called Buyer Beware. This one says, if these walls could talk, they would scream. When Elle moves to 1 Delaney Row, she hopes to find a fresh start, a place where no one knows her name, her history, or her secrets. But what she doesn't know is that her new home is already hiding someone else's secrets. Dun, dun, dun. And the people determined to keep them are watching her. Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah. That one's coming out July 26th. That one is thriller, mystery, fiction, suspense, adult. Okay, and so the next group is going to be for August. This one is called Kitten. This is a magnetic, stirring debut novel about an adrift young woman whose growing fascination with her boyfriend's cat ushers her into the possibilities of her own life, not without first threatening to unravel it. That's all I'm going to do. This one is crazy. I think this girl falls in love with her boyfriend's cat. Fiction, literary fiction, contemporary adult fiction, coming of age, has to do with cats. That one is August 4th. The next one is called Murder Bites. This one is by Mimi Montgomery. This one is Literary Hub's most anticipated book of the year. Margot Cartwright is not exactly blending in with the residents of Glendale, South Carolina. An unwilling transplant from Washington, D.C., Margot feels like a fish out of water among Lululemon wearing, tiny dog owning, non-New Yorker reading locals who are clamoring to have their fur babies star on Posh, a reality TV show about couture canines. Margot loves her dog, but Sid Vicious is far too cool of a mutt for a show like that. After she's caught channeling her inner Robin Hood by stealing her neighbor's pro-Posh sign, further cementing her title as the neighborhood pariah. When the local dog walker is killed in a bizarre incident involving an over-the-top Halloween display featuring multiple Home Depot skeletons, all eyes turn to Margot. To clear her name and save her family from falling apart, Margot vows to find the real killer before they strike again. It's mystery, mystery thriller, cozy mystery, fiction, contemporary. This one, again, comes out August 4th. The next one is The Unknown by Riley Sager. I read anything Riley writes, so even if I don't love it, it's always fun to read a new one. In 1926, 5 women disappeared from a remote island in Vermont. A lot of Vermont books. Now, 100 years later, it's happening again. That's it. I'm just gonna leave it there. Thriller, mystery, horror, mystery, fiction, paranormal. The last one is The Woman in White, and this one is by Sarah Pekkanen. In 1964, 4 remarkable young women at a prestigious university become the subjects of parapsychology experiments by a visionary scientist. On the cusp of a historic breakthrough, the women mysteriously vanished and the program was erased from history. Decades later, Riley Bell, newly divorced and desperate for a fresh start, accepts a caretaker job for an elderly widow named Betty. Riley steps into a home that is frozen into another era. No microwave, television, or cell phones, and Betty has never heard of the internet. Why has Betty lived in such profound isolation for so many years, and why does she need Riley now? As the story unfolds across 2 timelines, Betty's 1960s era of 5 o'clock martinis and high-stakes experiments, and Riley's quest to uncover the truth about the missing women. Old secrets rise to the surface, and the only way to survive is to confront the mystery that has lingered for 60 years. So that is going to be the last one for this. I wanted to do June, July, and August. But I hope you liked this video and I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, please let me know which books you are planning on reading from this list. Thank you so much again, and I hope that you have a great afternoon, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.